Okay, it's Monday, September the 14th, and one of the biggest discussions of this 2020 season between superintendents has been the amount of wear on the golf course during COVID-19, the amount of play on the golf course, and one of the biggest things that have been talked about is the amount of wear on fairways from golf carts. Obviously, golf carts, single use, which is totally understandable, but with all those basically extra carts and people not doubling up, that's just led to a lot more cart traffic on the fairways and a lot more wear. So I think here is a great example on number 2 this morning in the dew pattern. This is just from the weekend. We mowed the fairways out for the weekend, so this is just weekend traffic. But you can see the amount of just carts running up through the fairway here on number 2, especially in that bottom area right here where it stays a little bit wetter. You know, this whole channel's in irrigation. If it rains, you know, water runs down in there. But just kind of want to make people aware, kind of education of, you know, the amount of wear on the fairways. It's a little bit cooler this morning. It's going to be a bit of a cooler week. And then we're going to head into the fall and winter, and you know what's going to happen is we're going to struggle to you know, heal up this Bermuda grass kind of going into the winter, and once we get in there, there's no healing. Growth is over with. So you know, the biggest thing that we can do is just fertilizers. You know, a lot of questions are asked why we fertilize so much, why we're always out spraying and doing what we do. Well, we have 35 acres of fairways, you know, fine cut grass. We have to do it. We have no option. Otherwise these fairways really would be beaten up, wouldn't heal. The cultural practice we did this year of the aerification, I think this right here speaks for itself of why we need to do it again and again every year. Help with that compaction, you know, help with recovery and repair, kind of best thing that we can do. And then kind of moving up from there, if you look up to the tree on the right hand side, you can see in the dew pattern just that tree is winning the battle with the Bermuda grass. Just this is a great example of what trees close to the golf course do to Bermuda grass quality. Obviously it's taken up all the nutrients, it's taken away all the moisture from the Bermuda grass, and we don't have irrigation running up through some of these areas, so the Bermuda grass quality is always going to be hindered, you know, by trees like this. Obviously we want the trees out here. But this is just kind of educational of, you know, when you have some areas and why is this area not growing in better? Why is this area struggling? Well, right here is the culprit. You know, unless we put in more irrigation up into these areas, this is always going to be the winning battle for the tree. The tree roots of this tree, you know, they're running down into the fairway, obviously. And then that area, the sun is up behind, so it's just sitting there in shade all morning. You know, can't pick it up, but a great thing about it too is that grass up there on the right hand side is about 1 3/4 inches, 2 inches on that tree. So just think about the trees around the green. You know, greens, you know, they're mowed at 1/100 of an inch. So you think how short that grass is, and they have issues with trees like this around some of our greens on the golf course. 14, always say that's a great example. 14, back right, 17. You know, there's areas struggle that week, and again, questions of why is that happening? Why is it doing that? Well, the tree is winning the battle. There's nothing we can do unless the tree comes down. We can root prune, but just think that's great kind of educational education for this morning of really what these trees do to our golf course in certain areas and why certain areas struggle. And again, going into why we fertilize so much, why you see us out here spraying so much, you know, and kind of what we do. The left hand side is the same thing up against the cart path. Shade, tree roots are winning the battle, and those tree roots, they're coming onto that cart path, and those 2 spots up there always dry out. And why do they dry out? They're little on knuckles there. The soil quality is probably not great, but you know, the trees, to just kind of, again, education of why we do what we do with fertilization, some of the chemicals we use out here. You know, we have to. If we don't, those areas that are up there on that left hand side, they would be the whole fairway if we didn't, you know, do what we do with the cultural practices, fertilization. So just kind of, again, letting everybody aware of kind of You know, COVID-19 obviously is great for the amount of play we've had, amount of rounds. It's fantastic, but again, just the amount of wear we're getting on the golf course is not so great. So just kind of, you know, that counters that a little bit. And just kind of want to make everyone aware, if you didn't know, just kind of what we're seeing in the 2020 season.